Y- Yeah, I'm ashamed, Kai. I have no spinny hat. I am dog sitting old Millie the Bulldog, who I think has made an appearance on this show in prior years. But yeah, I did not remember to bring my spinny hat to the second location. Fortunately, I am dog sitting for a fellow Bucks and Packers fan, as people might see in my framing here. We've got a Bucks highlight, a Packers ownership share. I'm excited to be here talking 137 games. We will not get to all of them, Kai, but we'll get to as many as we can. Matthew, how's fatherhood?
Oh, wait, we're back. Good. Sorry, we had a sound mix up.
I
And it
Oh, it's
looks
fixed it.
like
Kai's
we're
audio.
back.
I fixed it.
Classic.
Sorry, guys. You missed my really
God.
funny intro. I do it every
Yeah,
time.
Jim's was funny too. All right, well, I guess I'll
Uh,
kick this off. Hey, folks, thanks for joining us today. It's another spinny Saturday edition of the Three Emily Best Bets program. Um, it's good to see you both, Kai, in costume, Jim and I not in costume. A lot of action today. A lot of bets I passed on. Had like a list of probably 30, whittled down to like 12. So we'll see if that was a good approach or a bad approach. There's always it's a lose-lose though, because if you lose, you wish you would have, or you bet less, you bet smaller. It's like, okay, well, if I lose, you're bummed because you lost. But then if you win, it's like, oh, I could have bet more. And then there's just no way to be happy in this
that's
business,
right.
ideally.
That's
So
exactly
that's
right.
where we're at. That's where we're at.
Yes. Mob, can you hear me now? Give me a little thumbs up. Okay.
There's a
Uh,
little delay. We think you're probably
there's a
good.
little delay. A wild finish at the pit last night, fellas. I went to sleep. I watched the first half, New Mexico, Nevada. Um, Almost middled. I was on Nevada full game. Took New Mexico second half. 1 point away from the middle. Doesn't matter. What matters is Nevada 0-4 in the Mountain West now. That's crazy. Did not see that one happening, and now in clear danger. At large is almost impossible, and making the tournament out of the Mountain West seems unlikely as well because they don't pass my eye test, fellas. They just don't. And then Georgetown. You're not a bad team. You're not a bad team, Georgetown. Malik
Are we
Mack.
saying they are fully good or just not bad?
I don't know, man. There's something about every game I'm watching them. It's like I don't know. I can't get there quite yet on good. Malik Mack was heroic in that game, his best game of the season. Yeah, it took a lot of shot making. It took Xavier missing a ton of shots. I know I'm sounding like I'm caveating a little bit. Georgetown's much better than I expected this season. How
The,
about
the
that?
guy, I'm just going to throw in the guy I did not see coming at all is freshman Caleb Williams. He started the last
Yeah,
four and he
solid.
like legitimately helps them. He makes kind of dirty garbage man plays. Not dirty as in dirty, like sleazy, but like helpful. He,
Yeah.
he does the little things.
Well, okay, that's enough of that. Let's get into the actual show here. Let's start off with a huge game. Arizona at Cincinnati, a massive one in the other Queen City, Matthew. Cincinnati, also called the Queen City, I'm pretty sure, per Google. Arizona, 0-Q1 wins on its resume. This one would be huge. Cincy off the trip to the dentist at the Octagon of Doom. Matthew, your thoughts on this game? Cincy laying 3, I believe.
Yeah, I market came in on Cincy. I think to be expected. I don't think no one really loves Arizona so far this year. They played better lately, but they haven't really done it against good teams, and they haven't proven anything away from home. This is their first true road game of the year. I think this is one of four first true road games of the season. Those teams have played neutrals and semi aways, I guess. But the concern for me, Jim, is CJ Frederick and Colin Hickman. I think they were banged up coming out of the last game for Cincy. I did not double check that. Poor due diligence by me. That was the only slight concern. Everything else, I'm like, yep, Cincy, yep, Cincy, yep, Cincy, spot, matchup, etc. But I don't love laying it unless I know that at least there's a one of those floor spacers out there for the Bearcats. Like I do think that's where I don't trust Cincinnati laying any number over two. It's like, can they make enough shots? Jizzle James. I know Skillings is back, but I lean Cincy. I didn't officially bet it though. I was waiting to find out on those two dudes.
CJ Frederick doesn't matter. He's like barely on the team. I wouldn't worry about him. Hickman played 14 minutes last game, was extremely ineffectual. So whether that matters to you or not. But Matt, you kind of talking your way into it. I think you should get there. The under, I think, is a pretty good look here. I know pace could get high with the way Arizona likes to play, but first road game, I can't imagine them dictating tempo. Cincinnati likes to slow it down. Both 2 point percentage defenses are really stout. Well, teams have a lot of size. Even with Krivas out for the season for Arizona, Visar has been pretty effective. Owaka's kind of a lockdown guy despite being undersized. And we know Cincinnati's rim defense is terrific. So with Arizona going first true roadie across the country, weird new first Big 12 tip. I like Cincinnati. I like the under. Neither's the best bet, but I'm those are ones I'm definitely interested in.
Yeah, as always, it's going to be which version of Caleb Love do we get? If you're backing Arizona, if you're expecting them to win or hang, Cincinnati's defense has been locked down, and any carelessness will be taken advantage of by the Bearcats. On offense, Arizona is a lot smaller without Krivas. I know Visar has stepped up nicely, but Bandego, man, every time I watch him, he impresses me. He's a real lob threat, a catch and dunk guy. It's almost a cheat code. Zona's going to force Cincy to be shooters, and they have plenty of those, but they have regressed from their liquid hot magma start. Is that their level, or is it closer to what they started at this season? I was really hoping to see Cincy 2. It was kind of 2.5 the whole time. Now it's 3, so a no play for me. Like Matt was hoping to bet Cincy in that situation. All right, here we go. Staying in the Big 12, Baylor at Iowa State. Hilton Magic in full force tonight. Jim, I think Iowa State gets pretty much whatever they want against this Baylor defense, but what do you think?
Yeah, this is one where I'm very close to taking the over because I think both teams can score. Like Baylor can take care of the ball against that pressure. And once you're past that initial line of defense, the interior of the defense for Iowa State, not quite as stout. Chatfield's been solid. Jefferson's great, but it's not quite what it was last year. So if you can take care of it, you can score. And then the other end, yeah, Iowa State can get whatever they want against that defense. Baylor just hasn't figured it out the last 3 years. It's been kind of a rinse and repeat with all offense, no defense. Hilton's a really tough place to play, Matt. It's a little bit high for me on the spread where I lean towards the Bears, but then in the total, Baylor's played really slow in league play the last couple of years, like slower even than they've done in non-conference. That's why I'm not going to actually take the over, but I do think there's going to be a lot of efficiency in this game. I lean Baylor on the spread, Matt, but I'm not betting this one. I like Cincinnati, Arizona more than I like this game.
Yeah, Iowa State has seen some zone this year. They haven't actually been great against it, but they have been awesome offensively outside of that from what I've watched. Like there's been a few times I know where they're at Iowa and then at Colorado, nip and tuck most of the way, and then they just put on a huge run late at the buzzer, and lo and behold, they find themselves covering here. Kind of the same situation I see happening here. I think this is going to be close and competitive. I think there's going to be some feeling out of Baylor's zone if, in fact, Drew decides to open the game with that. We'll see. He's at 27%. Zone usage on the year. I don't have that compared to the last couple of years. And you're right, Jim. They typically have done that more in conference play, why they've played slower. I like the under. I kind of talked myself into it, but I've been burned by Iowa State unders all year. This is a new Iowa State team, right? They can really score. And man, Curtis Jones pulls from 40 feet when he gets a look. I mean, they have some really enthusiastic shooters, like guys that aren't as, control everything. The Lipsy tends to do that sometimes, really slows it down, wants to methodically work the clock. But they're other guys, man. They shoot with reckless abandon, and they're good, and they can make them. So I don't blame them for that. So I don't know. Long-winded way of saying I have no action in this game. I lean Baylor and I lean under, but nothing strong.
Yeah. What'd you say for zone frequency this year for Baylor?
27% Baylor.
Okay. Last year 17, year before 12,
okay.
Year before 9. It's kind of been going up. I think actually, they're It's like oh crap, man's not working. Let's keep trying more zone. I don't know.
And we talked about this year's personnel grouping had some major concerns on that end. So it does make sense that you want to mask some of those.
Yeah, Iowa State, number 3 on offense, I think, in the country right now. The Clones, just 18 in defense, which is a big fall from where they were last couple of years. The only way Baylor gets stops on defense, though, is creating turnovers. You just can't rattle these Iowa State guards, especially in Hilton. Iowa State may be a little susceptible on the other end to the pick and roll, but good luck getting anything in transition against them. I think they can keep Baylor off the glass. I also kind of lean the over as well for Jim. Again, 2 high-powered offenses. I don't think Baylor's a good defensive team. Iowa State not quite where they used to be. And I do still lean Iowa State despite the big spread. I'm really buying into this team this season, and I just think they can smother opponents, especially at home. So lean.
Okay, give me one. I have a memory that Osselberger has completely owned Drew. Iowa State has covered 9 in a row against Baylor.
Ooh, love that stat.
So I forgot that. I'm glad I remembered to look it up. They have owned them lately.
Good trend. And here we go. 2, Duke at SMU, brand new ACC rivals. This Duke team, Matthew, your Dukies, already battle-tested wins at Arizona, at Louisville, at Georgia Tech, but SMU, no joke. They need to score a few more quality wins to feel good about themselves for the tournament. Duke would be a great start. Your thoughts in what maybe is SMU's biggest home game ever? I'm saying that, but it might not be true, but it could be true. Matthew, thoughts?
I think it might be true. I was looking at what Boopy Miller did against Duke last year at Wake. He had one terrible game, and then he had one really good game. I think they split with Duke. Just noteworthy because I do think he matters a ton in this game. Obviously, he's a key initiator, but I think they're going to have to get some offense from the perimeter. I mean, what we like about SMU, Kai, is like their wing and forward defenders are really strong. They're like very athletic. I mean, they're probably not Duke level in terms of talent, size, and just general athleticism, but like they have some real size, some real length. That's why they've been so dominant. I think that's why we were so high on this team to start the year. George, we're handicapping here, guy. Relax. I don't know, Jim. I thought the number was a little bit big, but I've been fading Duke a couple too many times the last. Hey, Virginia Tech, I thought number was too big, and they ended up kind of extending late. And I do like this matchup here for SMU. I think they have some real athletes on the wing, and that's what you kind of need to thwart Duke on offense.
I think you kind of touched on it a little bit there, where if you're going to bet SMU, I would go first half. Duke's been a little bit sleepy on first halves kind of all season long. Now they're going on the road, tougher environment, big game for the home team. I would certainly lean towards SMU. I also like the under. I think SMU's tempo has been inflated because they play sprints, track meets against bye game competition. And you get them against real opponents, and it doesn't quite ping pong back and forth like that. And Duke's defense is terrific. Top 3 defense in the country. They're huge at every position, shot blocking, athleticism, size, whatever you want. They've got it. I think SMU might be a little frustrated by that. So kind of take full game, definitely lean to the under. And if you want to side, I would go SMU first half.
Yeah, you said it, the defense, man. It's very hard to score on Duke. They do not allow transition. They're huge and they're versatile in the half court. SMU relies on transition. They rely on creation from Boopie Miller and Chuck Harris. They rely on the heroics of Matt Cross, the glass, the foul line. Duke has multiple lockdown defenders. They can switch easily. They can rebound, and they rarely foul. Matchup-wise, I think this really points to Duke. But, again, arguably biggest home game ever at SMU. Huge spot for them. Huge environment. 8 is a lot of points. Squarely on the fence. Matchup Duke, spot SMU, gut SMU as well.
It feels like maybe a money line type of play, like just Boopie Miller, Chuck Harris. We talked about this. They're very volatile guards. You could see them going absolutely bananas today, right? But you could also see them, shoot them out of the game. It's just kind of the feast or famine nature of their games.
So easy to predict. 18-year-olds
playing
basketball. Yes. Okay, Arkansas at Tennessee is where we're going next. The SEC, the best conference perhaps ever. Arkansas, a massive 12-point spread, Jim. Preseason, I would have probably belly flopped onto the spread on Arkansas here, but Tennessee's ridiculously good. Could make an argument that they're best team in the country with Auburn. Their defense is suffocating as usual. What are your thoughts on this game? 12 points. Oof.
Well, Kai, I'd like to see you belly flop onto anything. So let's maybe get that video up somehow. I'm very interested in that. It does feel like Arkansas should be able to play up better as an underdog rather than, I don't want to lay points with them. It's kind of been a Calipari bugaboo for a while. Like he doesn't get his team engaged the same way as a big non-conference favorite as you can in league play. And Matt, I'm still not fully sold Tennessee is invincible top 2 team in the country. I think they are legit top 7 Final 4 contender. They're fantastic, but I'm not all the way there where they're at in their analytical rankings right now, which has kind of inflated the spread. I lean towards Arkansas, even though it's spooky going into Thompson-Boling Arena and seeing what they can do. But I'm more Razorbacks here with Calipari as an underdog and those athletes playing up.
I am too. How about a little Jonas 80 revenge game? He's been playing pretty well the last few games. Back in the starting lineup. Arkansas, they haven't played anyone real since Michigan, but I mean, they beat Michigan, right? I know it was an ugly start to that game, but it's just a team in Arkansas I think is going to rise well in competition. Again, scary fading Tennessee. Every game I think I've been like a point or two behind on their, I'm just trying to catch up with their rating but I just don't think it's a continued escalation to like 110 rating Tennessee, right? I think there has to be a leveling off. I think there's going to be times to fade them in conference selectively and cautiously, Kai. This is one of those times, though. I took Arkansas very small, but I do think you're getting a little bit of an inflated price here with how it's panned out so far this year.
Yeah, I don't think Arkansas has been nearly as bad as the perception. If you never watched a game, you would think Arkansas is like under 500, in danger of missing the tournament, blah, blah, blah. Their resume is solid. All they've done is lost to Illinois and Baylor neutral floors, which is not a problem. Now, they are 4-9 against the spread, and that goes towards more so playing to competition, like Jim said. They need Nelly Davis to show up and beat Nelly Davis. That would be a great start. Boogie Flan needs to stay poised, handling the ball in a hostile arena, and they need to compete on the glass. I think they can do the latter part at least. They're very big, they're physical. Their lack of shooting, though, Arkansas's lack of shooting, it's going to be hard to score, I think. It's very difficult to get anything in the paint against Tennessee. Arkansas is number 3 in the country in rim field goal percentage. Tennessee number 8 in the country in rim field goal percentage defense, and 13th in rim field goal attempt rate at the rim. So very much a strength for strength going on in this game. Line's too big though.
I don't mind the under, Kai.
A little under play, yeah, Jim.
Yeah, maybe. I could get there.
I do think the line's a little bit too big, so I would lean towards the dog. I am staying away though. Okay, chat mob part 1. Our czar, I believe, is Jim. What do you got for us?
Chat Morb. It's the Chat Morbius, Kai. We're getting it's Morbin time. Yep, that's right. All right, we will start with Eric Braun's question about his best bet is the Kangaroos of UMKC of Kansas City, I guess as they're known now, against Oral Roberts. Matt, this has come down. I love the Roos. This version of the Roos rocks with Jamar Brown. What do you think?
Yeah, who's betting Oral Roberts? Have you noticed like what they've done this year? Like nothing. I know it's conference play that, Eisman Bride's there. There's some talent there. There's some remnants of the Paul Mills. Didn't matter last year. They're bad. It's funny. Tough year for Tulsa basketball. I don't know who's having a worse year, Tulsa or Oral Roberts. But anyway, I like the Roos. Do I like them laying 8, Jim? Not as much, but I do think that they're sort of on that comet ship trajectory, given how they've retooled the rotation. They figured out that once Brown's back, he's way better than the other point guard, Hall. And even though we love Anderson Kopp, they're just fine without him, at least how they're playing right now. I like the Roos. That's all I'm going to say. I lay it. So.
Even without Kopp, they're 51st in three-point attempt rate. Like they still bomb
Petty
away.
And Foss can bomb. Petty and Foss can shoot the crap out of it.
All right, Kai, to you for an extra board question. We'll see if you got any feel in this in the Southland. Oof. Texas A&M Corpus Christi or Southeastern Louisiana, 7-1-2 winners. Curious about this one. I bet the last game they got blown out by McNeese. Do you have anything here with them in a bounce back position?
I guess lean Corpus Christi, if anything, because I think they are legit good, and I am very skeptical that CELA is where they're being priced in the market. That's been the case all season, though, so I could just be low on them.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I think Corpus Christi is better, and you're laying a very, very short road price. I'm with you there. Okay, Matthew, big one from Zhang that did not make the outline. Our guy Mike Zhang, left angle sports. What a stud. Texas A&M, Matthew, the SEC, big one here. Texas making the step over to this conference. Obviously, they're still around in football. What do you think here in hoops? I like the Aggies at home.
I do too. The price is high. Like it's tough I couldn't justify laying 6 if you're just trying to go on a pure price basis. But I don't know, some of these, again, the handicapping is about when do you use price, when do you use gut, when do you use combination of the two. My gut loves A&M here. I took A&M small at 5.5. I got some 6. It's all 6s right now, Kai. Wouldn't go crazy. Again, no bargain as talented as Texas is, but I like A&M.
All right, Kai, from the MAC, from Bram, a question. Ohio and Central Michigan. See if I can get Ohio's on the road laying 4.5.
I really have nothing in this game, Jim. Ohio's a team that I have bet on several times in the non-con, and I have failed to cover with. Perhaps they start playing to their level in conference play. This is a team that I thought was the best in the MAC heading into the year. So I suppose lean their way and getting get right spot, but I made it about right where it is on the line.
Yeah, they're like closer to full health. Sharif Mitchell's been playing, but it's still having a hard time figuring them out. Lean Ohio, but Central Michigan can really D up, and they were good in MAC play last year.
Okay, yep.
Matthew, another question from Mike Zhang. St. Bonaventure, the darling of the A10 early season performance right now, they're going on the road to Fordham. So Bonnie's had a huge win over VCU. Can they keep it going as a road favorite -6 in Rose Thrill Gymnasium?
I think they squeak by in a thriller at Rose Thrill, but the Rammies are going to be feisty today. I think they throw out that game against SLU. That was just a tough one where they got SLU's best. I mean, they just were blitzed by SLU, right? I think St. Bonnie's comes in. It's more of a, it's more of a execution methodical type team. It's going to be a physical back and forth game. I think Fordham actually matches up well at St. Bonaventure in that context. So I don't know. I think probably don't have St. Bonaventure rated high enough given how well they played, which have been pretty much flawless, all things considered. I don't think they're going to go in and crush Fordham like St. Louis did, though.
Yeah, St. Louis wiped him out. Kai, in the MVC, Northern Iowa, kind of been a mini rocket ship lately. Short road favorite -4.5 at Valpo, who is definitely better than I thought they were going to be.
Valpo is way better than they appeared to be in the preseason. The Western Michigan comeback still haunts my dreams. That was almost impossible. I lean towards the Purple Panthers. I still don't think Valpo is quite at the level of the top-tier dogs in the Valley, though they did take Drake to overtime. That was impressive. Was it Drake? I think it was Drake. Lean you and I at 4.5, nothing strong.
Quick note here. Jacob Hudson got hurt last game. I think he's okay, but he may not be okay.
That would matter.
Pretty important player. A guy we hated last year, but like has been turned into an absolute stud for them. So
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah, he's like that top of the key, initiate offense. He's actually making shots a little bit this year. He's been good. Matthew from Nicola, his other question, Butler at St. John's. Butler coming off giving up a 23-1 run to lose my best bet
25.
against Villanova, 25-1. Yeah, that made me angry. I was not pleased with that. Now they're going to St. John's, who is coming off a heartbreaking late buzzer beating loss, basically at Creighton. They missed a shot at the buzzer. Bounce back spot for the Johnnies. Is Butler circling the drain? Do you lay the double digits here?
I thought the market was going to just pound St. John's, and I got too eager myself. I laid 12. It's 11 everywhere. I like St. John's. I know Butler's played decently against good teams, but I think this is a St. Johnny spot at Carnesecca Arena. I think this is one of those games where the game's over in the first 5 to 10 minutes. St. John's have a few of these a year at Carnesecca where they just come out and blitz teams, good teams even, and this feels like an early tip. Going to the Garden sort of after the devastating loss that Butler's coming. I think St. John's takes from the woodshed here.
Yeah, I would tend to agree. And ball handling is kind of an issue for Butler. That's not
point guards. It's gotten better,
John's.
right? But it's not been settled all season. It's been kind of an issue for them. Yeah.
No. Kai from Nicholas Sheeran, William and Mary -5.5 at Stony Brook in the Coastal Athletic. Earl has kind of gotten it going at William and Mary. They scored like 1,000,000 points last time they were out. Does the offense regress here, or do you just want to keep riding that wave?
Yeah, and my numbers said Stony Brook, and I was like, I don't think I want to bet Stony Brook. I think I lost a few on them early on. I looked at the results. They're horrible. They're one of the worst teams in the country. And William and Mary is a team that I really want to start backing in Colonial play or Coastal play, excuse me, because I love Brian Earl as a coach. I think he's going to do very, very, very well in conference play. So lean towards the Tribe at 6, even ignoring the number.
All right, we'll get 3 more, then we'll continue collecting chat questions for the second chat mob portion, get back to the outline. Matthew, in the ACC, Georgia Tech is laying a touchdown or slightly more than a touchdown, 7.5 against Boston College. BC just had the monster second half to beat Miami, Florida. Georgia Tech, I don't know, where do we feel, or where do we land on the Yellow Jackets right now, Matt, laying a touchdown?
Like them, deceptively like them. Wanted to like them more, but I think with McCollum back, I don't know what the situation was with him early in the year, but like he's clearly a key player. It's a youngish team. Their core is still kind of sophomore laden with George, and I'm blanking on big guy name. But anyway, John. Yeah, thank you. No, but McCollum is a key piece. I think they played better with him. You can see that very clearly. They're still a little banged up, shorthanded. Reeves has been out. And so has O'Brien. O'Brien's kind of that veteran key piece. So I like the fully assembled Georgia Tech version. We haven't quite seen all those pieces intact. More importantly, though, I don't like them as a favorite, especially against kind of a feisty Earl Grant type of dog. But Jim mentions the key point. I mean, you want to back BC confidently coming off I would say a pretty monumental effort there in the second half. Yeah. Maybe they just slept walk and dominated Miami, or maybe that was like they just left it all out there and now they have nothing left for GT. I don't know. This is an easy stay away from me, Kai. Tips off in a half hour, by the way.
Yeah, hard to stay away from me as well. Last time Boston College played a great game was Boise State beat them. Then they came home and lost at home to Dartmouth as 17-point favorites. They do not have 2 good games in a row in them. That's a big stay away. Kai, big injury concerns in your question here, your game, a question from Matt T. Kobe Julian, the possible player of the year in the Sun Belt for Arkansas State. Not sure what his status is. Arkansas State, a slight favorite, -1.5 at James Madison.
I had a slight number lean to James Madison, but I do think Arkansas State's the best team in this league, and I was not in a hurry to fade them. I stayed away.
Yeah, James Madison was out without freshman sniper Bryce Lindsey last game. I think he has the norovirus, and I'm scared of that. If that spreads among the team, that could get real bad.
The 2-bucket disease, Jim, they call it. The 2-bucket disease.
Oh, I don't like thinking about that at all. All right. Last one before we go back to the outline, folks. I am collecting the other questions, so don't worry. We are not ignoring you. Matthew, a new Big Ten game. The Wolverines headed west to LA to the glitz and glam of USC. Michigan laying 5.5 on the road at Musselman, the Must Bus. Any thoughts for you there?
Kind of like USC actually in this spot. I'm not going to lay it because I can't bet Eric Musselman against Dusty May under any circumstances, Kai. But I do think value-wise, I kind of like USC here. I think they've been playing a little bit better. The issue was they just had no one healthy all offseason. Musselman, he always gives this excuse. He always does the muscle march surge. But I do think there was real reason to believe why he was cautioning it to struggle to start the year. And, you've seen some evidence of them playing better lately. Like, they have real talent. They have a ton of positional size. And I think that actually is going to bode well against Michigan, which is an unorthodox prep and cover with their 2 7-footers and how they run pick and roll. So I think Musselman can throw some curveballs back at Michigan, who throws more curveballs at their opponents with the Golden and Danny Wolf pairing.
Yeah. Yeah. Weird game. Like Michigan or USC doesn't really have bigs, but I like the over. I think both teams can score there, and Michigan racks up points. USC's covered 4 in a row by like 15 points every game. They like emphatic covers. All right, Kai, back to you. Back to the outline.
Here we go, back to the outline for another Big Ten traditional matchup. It's UCLA at Nebraska. Gut play and number play here for me on Nebraska. I think it's their game, but I would be lying, Matthew, if I said UCLA has not been awesome. I just can't get past the warts offensively. The defense is no joke, but I watch this team, and the eye test says this team is beatable. Your thoughts?
I agree. Especially on the road. Like, I think it's a team that should travel well because they're really good defensively. And it's an older team this year. That was sort of Cronin's bugaboo last year, is they got a lot older this season. But Nebraska at home, I saw it's a full sellout already. Like, this is not going to be a game where you have a happy hour student on break crowd. This will be a legitimate crowd. Obviously first travel for Mick going in his first Big Ten rodeo, although he's played in all these arenas before. Like, he has experience. I'm not sure if it matters, though. It's players is what I think matters. I like Nebraska. The Burke revenge game, baby. This is 20-12 for Burke, just getting railed verbally by Mick all last year as a freshman. So I hope he shows out well today.
I like the under. I think both teams really struggle to score. Both teams have very stout interior defenses and just defensive structures. The Nebraska shell has been kind of a big story this year, where you cannot score in the paint in them. It's all jump shots. They're big
Virginia,
positionally.
Right?
Yeah, every position is big with Butte and Shell playing the 4. You've got Williams. You've got like Esijan comes in and he's small, and Hoiberg, I guess, but they rarely have both those guys on the floor at the same time. They've got size at the rim. They've got guys to throw at Bilodeau, and UCLA's offense is like super reliant on Bilodeau as the facilitator, post guy, draw double teams. I don't think Nebraska will have as much issue with that as some other teams. So yeah, Kai, I like the under. It's been bet down a little bit, but still very much lean that way.
Nebraska, no wins against the top 50 teams. Creighton is number 50 in KenPom, which is a little baffling, but excellent home court, like you guys said. I think they're up to the task beating UCLA. Like UCLA, and this points to Jim's point on the under, not the prettiest offensive attack. Ball handling and turnovers is a real concern, with UCLA being the number 1 turnover percentage defense in the country. Huskers lockdown on defense, again, ugly, low scoring. Very interesting chess match. I think both teams kind of have a smattering of fungible wings to sort of counteract the other. Bilodeau is a problem for everyone, but I do agree with Jim. Nebraska has a little bit of a combination of guys they can try on him. Some bigger, some more wingy in nature. Will be interesting to see what they do. Big spot, big home game for the Huskers. I like them. It's steamed up to 2, maybe even 2.5 in some places. Still leaning their way at that number. All right, SEC. This game was a non-con game just 2 years ago. It's Oklahoma at Alabama. In 2023, Oklahoma beats the future 1-seed Alabama Crimson Tide by 24 points in Norman, Jim. Only Mark Sears played in that game on the current roster. Do you think he and Nate Oates have revenge on their mind?
You think a little bit. Oates seems like the kind of guy that is not forgetting that type of game, maybe less so for Sears, but it was an embarrassment. They Oklahoma pulled their pants down and embarrassed them in January. It was so I would think maybe they remember that a little bit. This one's more about Oklahoma, first true road game, and potential 3-point regression for a team that gives up a bunch of threes against Alabama, who is dying to take a ton of them. Matt, I can't quite get there on the number. This is full on gut for me, though. I think this one snowballs big time. I think Alabama wins by 20, makes 15 threes, just has one of those games where everything's going in, feels like everything's going wrong for Oklahoma, and the undefeated run ends for the Sooners here.
I kind of agree with it. I like this OU. I just like their guards a little more this year because I think they can actually get going themselves. Like, if this starts to balloon, I think they can actually make enough shots and keep the back door partly ajar to where like, maybe it gets to 12 and it's to 18, and then it's back to 12, or I don't think it goes from like 10 to 15 to 20 and then there's no resistance. But I do think generally people who say this price is too high, I don't agree with that. I think Alabama should be laying like probably a dozen to this OU team, given some of the regression things in their profile and how good OU is. So 13 painted now everywhere. So
yeah, Oklahoma in the half court is basically all ball screens for Jeremiah Fears, who's been awesome, but it's the first true road game for Oklahoma and for him as a freshman.
He's like 17 years old.
17?
And he's a reclass freshman. It's a reclass freshman. Oklahoma does have, I think, an advantage with Jalen Moore. Are you going to throw Grant Nelson on him? I think that's a big problem. And Porter Moser, among the best coaches in the country at hunting mismatches, he will exploit whatever Alabama does that he thinks he has an advantage on. OU, though, no rim protection. Alabama obviously bombs away from three. That's their MO. But they also get plenty of buckets at the rim. Number one
in the
country.
They're, let's say top 5 in 2-point percentage, right?
Yeah, number 1 in the country in 2-point percentage. Oklahoma, 259th in 2-point percentage defense. That's a little bit more translatable than 3-point percentage stats. I think Alabama cruises here. 13 is a lot, and it's basically at the number I made it, but Alabama, I think, is the play there. All right, BYU Houston. Matt, you talked about getting overeager earlier on St. John's. I got overeager on Houston. I saw Circa open 11 in Illinois, so I snapped up 10.5. It went down to 9.5. I think it's at 10 right now. Very interesting game. Houston, I think, is still right there with the best teams in the nation. I continue to believe that. Can the BYU offense crack this Cougar defense? They can shoot, and they want to shoot, and that's a pretty good start. Your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, you're too high on Houston. Sorry, Kai. I mean, I'm not backing BYU here, but I just don't think they're infallible. They're laying 10 to a really good BYU team who just got Richie Saunders and Igor Zemin, like a lottery pick and
Igor. It's
Yegor, sorry.
Yegor.
Yeah, it should be, well, whatever. Yegor. First round pick, big time talent. Got him back last game. And then Richie Saunders, who has been out too, was like the best player on the floor last game, like sharpshooter. BYU playing them close last year. I know it's a different coaching set, different operation, but like Dallin Hall at BYU, very fair. But I don't trust Houston's offense enough because I think BYU's defense is the underrated part of this handicap, right? Of the four sides of the ball, if you will. I think BYU's defense is very stout. I think Houston has trouble scoring. I know Emmanuel Sharp has got cleared to play today. Big development there. Good for you, Kai. I just think this, I had made this like 8.5 for reference. So no major edge, but I just think that this Houston team is a little bit overrated in the market right now.
Yeah, I'm curious how much Samson's like Sharp's foot is all black and blue, and like he made it sound like the foot was like near amputation, and somehow he's playing today, so it must not be that bad. I lean to Houston at 10, but yeah, there are some matchup concerns. BYU, the best defensive rebounding team in the country by rate. That's like Houston's offense. Let's throw it up, let's go get it, let's get some putbacks. If BYU can take that away, then suddenly it doesn't look as good. But on the other hand, if Houston does get offensive rebounds, that's like the driver of BYU's defense. It's not like they have a ton of constant 5-man athlete lineups they're throwing at you. They're big, positionally very big, but I'm not worried about like Dallin Hall and Saunders keeping guys in front of them. I think there could be some penetration there, and maybe that's where the cracks show up and you get a little bit of offensive rebounding. But yeah, Kai, I did not bet this game. I wanted to because I love the Cougars and at home in like a no one is currently believing in us spot, but I did sit it out.
Yeah, Cougar on Cougar action, by the way, hot. What is this?
You love your big cats. You love your big cats.
There's a joke in there somewhere, which not appropriate for our channel. Yeah, you're right.
My child's listening. Please stop.
The defensive rebounding stats real. However, BYU has played the 347th best schedule. There is some noise in that stat, in my opinion. They've played one team in the top 60 this season. Houston is a complete step up in competition. It's on the road. Demon's going to be challenged against the Houston perimeter. So long, so sound defensively. They smother ball handlers. His size is a true asset. I just think this is kind of a, holy cow, like we didn't know this level existed sort of thing. I think
Houston, to your point, Ole Miss, the only top 50 team they played, had 10 offensive rebounds, 28% of their misses, and they're not a big front line.
I think Houston kind of overwhelms them. It's BYU's first game was a blowout loss to Providence. I just don't think they have the same juice away from home, and they haven't really proven that to be the case yet. Okay, San Diego State and Boise State will finish up our rundown here before more chat mob questions and, of course, our best bets. Please do subscribe to the Discord, by the way. The link is in the channel channel description. We talk bets every single day. Every single day we're talking bets. Fantastic value. $6 a month. That's pretty good. Okay, San Diego State at Boise State. Massive one in the Mountain West. Jim, San Diego State will fall to 1-2 with a loss. Boise keeps pace with New Mexico with 4-0 with a win. Both teams still have pretty good at-large chances. Last year, Boise swept San Diego State, 1-1 at home and won in OT at Viejas. Your thoughts on this game? Boise, I think, is laying around 4.
Yeah, I like that San Diego State has to me, clear, better backcourt with the way Boyd is playing, the way BJ Davis has played. Miles Bird, whether he's backcourt or not, I guess is debatable, but he's been terrific. In Boise, he's kind of like Cardenas and forwards. So in a way, Matt, the alignment and the lineups trend towards under. If Magoon Gloth stays on the floor, he's one of the best shot blockers in the entire country. And Boise wants to play at the rim with their size. So definitely lean to the under. It was a late cut from my best bet consideration. I just don't think there's a lot of scoring on either end. And when these two get together, it tends to slog down. You have a 7-minute scoring drought, and you're like, oh yeah, that's what happens with these two. But with the side, I lean towards San Diego State. Just with the backcourt, and I can't imagine them going under 500. That would shock me. But I'm not willing to step in on it. I'm going to save my bullets for best bets here, Matthew.
How about this? So far, 16 games in the Mountain West. Only 6 teams of those 16 have won at home. So is home court dead in the somewhere? The streets are wondering. I'm not going to get there, but there have been some much more peculiar results in terms of home road splits, which were like very predictably home skewed last season. Like everyone was betting every home team in this league. I guess maybe the current mojo of this year of road teams gives me more confidence to back the Aztecs, Kai, which is where I lean. I just didn't make it low enough to back. I mean, Boise's still a good team. I feel like I'm too low on Boise every single season. But I do lean toward the Aztecs, the Aztecas.
Yeah, I kind of agree with Jim. A game where I think Boise might miss its guards. You can't really score in the inside against San Diego State. Miles Bird's a super versatile defender who's going to take away one of the 4 big guys they start on the perimeter. Aztecs have monster rim protection. So they're going to make Boise shoot, and that's not exactly Boise's strength. I just don't think on the other end you can really trust the Aztec offense. It's not pretty. It's ball screen nearly every time for Boyd or BJ Davis, and kind of pray they create something. So I think the line is a smidge high, but Boise home is good. And maybe Leon Rice has Dutch's number now after 2 wins last season. All right, Chat Mob Part 2. Let's get your questions, and then again, we will head into best bets. Jim, what do you got for us?
Got a lot of questions, so we're going to go quick hitter style, boys. Be punchy. Be punchy. Kyle, go right back to you. Game in the SEC. Georgia getting 4.5 on the road at Ole Miss. Both Logan Bush and Mike Sang asking about this one.
I laid 4 with Ole Miss. I've been a little lower on Georgia, though, all season. So not surprising. Ole Miss, I think, can get it done.
Has anyone bet Georgia out there, Jim? Anyone? Bueller.
Scared?
Careful with those. Matthew, yeah. DePaul heading on the road to Villanova, who just had the 25-1 ending against Butler. I like DePaul getting double digits. It's down to 9. What do you think?
Betting possessed, I'm with you. I took it +8, +8.5. No, David Skogman hurts. I think you might need him to stretch out Dixon, but I still like it. Don't know as a favorite? No, thank you. Go Demons.
No. Yep. From M. Sizza, Kai, East Tennessee State -4 against Wofford in the SoCon. Somebody in our Discord had a great handicap on the total here. Last year's game's really, really low possession. He liked the under, so that's why you should be in the Discord for that kind of intel. Kai, what do you think?
Not only that, but high continuity for both rosters, right? It's like almost
exactly
the same personnel, which is the key part in that analysis, which I agree that was pretty good. What was that? A small sample size for sure, but maybe that's how this game plays as well. I got nothing on the sides here, guys. 4.5 seems about right. East Tennessee State's team I was looking to back in conference play, but the number's not there right now. This line has not moved like an inch.
All right, I'll take this one. Cal Baptist hosting Seattle. Question from Ted Spencer. I have loved my Lancers all season. Big Cal Baptist guy. Lean their way here. The only thing stopping me is that Seattle got Kobe Williamson, the
Oh, he's back?
giant pirate ginger back. Yes, he
Wow.
played the last two games. He isn't playing a ton yet because Matthew Alexander Moncrief is a beast, but he had 11 and 8 in 25 minutes last game against Nichols when they collapsed late. So I'm going to
Wow.
stay away, but definitely lean to Cal Baptist. Matthew, in the Horizon League, your specialty, the
Yeah, I know it.
Penguins, the Penguins are getting
They hot.
six at Purdue Fort Wayne. Yeah, they are very hot, 5-0 in the league. What do you think?
I kind of lean their way. I mean, I know Fort Wayne's probably the favorite in this league, at least preseason wise. Preseason, you would have probably made this line 8 or 9. But I like Youngstown. They're like scorching hot. I like the makeup of their team. They somehow find transfers that fit every year, even under Faulkner, following Calhoun. I lean their way. 6 is too many.
Hi, Kyle Morin is going to the Loyola hosting
Ooh,
VCU
yeah.
game.
Nice.
VCU is laying 5.5 on the road, coming off their road loss in Olean. Loyola very injured. What do you think?
Yeah, I ended up staying away, but my number definitely pointed towards the Ramblers. They're supposed to get Jaden Dawson back today, which is huge.
Ooh,
One of their well, that's what the rumors are, anyways. One of their only scorers or capable scorers from the perimeter.
they have no guards.
Yeah,
No guards.
they needed him. Yeah, Justin Moore's out for the year, I think. I can't pronounce his name, but the other guy, Huminsu, is
Kimani
out.
Hunsu, yeah.
So getting Dawson back would be enormous. And Loyola's still a very good team, very scrappy team, hard team to beat at home. So I lean towards the Ramblers.
All right, Matthias, tell me what to do here because I love both teams and I'm not sure what to make of them. Texas Tech, they're laying 2.5 at elevation, heading to Utah. Sneaky fact, Lubbock is elevation, so it's kind of like a mountain team going to mountain. It's not quite as high as the Rockies, but does Texas Tech bounce back? They have full personnel. They just got torched by UCF last game.
I like Utah here. I just think it's a tough spot. Again, going back on the road again. I know they're healthier, but you're betting. What's the saying? Don't bet on a due horse. I need to see Texas Tech play good with their full compilation of players, and I think Utah's a tough matchup and a tough place to play. I like the Utes, Jim, as a home doggy. Slightly.
All right, Kai, in the SEC, you're going to get back-to-back SEC questions, but we'll start you with the Gamecocks. The Cocks headed to Mississippi State. They're getting 10.5 at the Bulldogs. Any thoughts for you there?
I bet Matt likes his Gamecocks. Is that right?
I don't
Okay.
actually. I've bet a bunch this year. I've been all in on the Kai, and they've been losing me.
No, I made
Shame.
it about 10, Jim. I got nothing in that one. But maybe in the other one
Okay.
you're going to ask.
Maybe. We'll find out. We'll see. Matthew and the Mac from UV. Ball State at Kent State. -10, the Golden Flashers laying at home. My number leaned to Ball State. I didn't want to take it, though, so I left it alone. What did you do?
I saw they moved Peyton Sparks to the bench. Actually played better. Kind of tells you how bad Ball State's been this year. They moved Peyton Sparks to the bench because they were so bad. I still like Kent State. I think Ball State's a disaster. I think Mike Lewis hates his team. I think it's going to spiral into the drain during conference play. Just my honest opinion.
Okay. All right. Well, Kai, you're right. Your other SEC question, Mizzou getting 18.5
Yes.
at the number 1 team in the country or number 2, depending where you look. Auburn, can the Tigers hang around?
I never bet on my Tigers, Jim, but I took Mizzou 18.5. I
Welcome
think it's
to
too
the
big. I
jungle.
think it's too big. It's a scary, scary place to play at Auburn. Mizzou's been great against good competition, though. You really can't fault them for what they've done. Look at Memphis right now. Memphis has the most Q1, Q2 wins in the country, and Mizzou was up on them pretty good in the first half and fell at the end on the road. They just took Illinois to the wire, who just blew out Oregon on the road. They beat Kansas. I think Mizzou can hang around 18 points against Auburn today, although Broome is going to be a huge issue for us, Jim.
Yes. I'm worried that it's a conference home opener for the best team in the country. It could get ugly. Also, I tried to mute myself for my sniffles, but I missed. Sorry if that came through on the microphone. Matt, an A10 question from Sam G. Sting. I think he said Dayton George Mason. I think he means Dayton George Washington.
George Washington.
This line
Yeah.
has taken off because no Darren Buchanan for George Washington, who is their best player. Dayton rocks. They're laying 9 on the road. Is that enough or too many?
Yeah, the Buchanan thing's big. I mean, G-Dub's been pretty good at home. That's kind of been like they've had some really game efforts against big teams, I think, at home. So this is probably a good spot to back him, but I'm not going to lay it without. Buchanan's kind of a massive piece against Dayton. You need a guy like that who can soften up a really stout, stingy Dayton defense. Otherwise, that home crowd will be sucked out. The energy will be sucked out of the building when Dayton goes up like 12-2 in the first 4 minutes. So.
Okay, Kai, out to the Mountain West, a true elevation game in Colorado Springs. Air Force hosting Wyoming. The road Cowboys laying 3 with Mr. Sonny Wicks.
Yeah, I guess I lean their way. Agjim, again, a guy I can't pronounce. I think he's out still. That's pretty key
Yep.
for Wyoming.
Dicey today. Busted or hurt his
Something.
leg. Yes, good call. Good note though.
Lower
Thank you.
body injury. I
lower
respect Joe
body.
Scott a lot, but man, I love Sonny Wicks. So I would lean towards Wyoming, if anything. Air Force has not been a great home team, despite my perceptions of them being a great home team.
They're not a good home team. Yeah, they're just not.
Sun, question from Donovan Hill. Florida Gulf Coast catching 4 at Queens. I just keep wanting Queens to be good, and they keep saying, Jim, we're not. Believe it, we're not. They needed a late run to get up on Stetson. They did not end up covering. Stetson's terrible. As much as I do typically subscribe to bet home teams in the A-Sun, I would lean Gulf Coast there, getting over a possession.
I bet Gulf Coast zone. I'm a Pat Chambers sucker too. I think he's a good coach, despite their rope-a-dope non-con.
Yep. Maddie in the Big 12, West Virginia, coming off maybe the biggest road win in program history. I don't know. It's the first time they've ever won in Lawrence. They did not have Tucker DeVries or Amani Hansberry. Now they're back home, laying 8.5 to Oklahoma State, another team with a first-year coach. What do you think?
Down to 8. Or Hansberry's back. DeVries is out, so you got one starter back.
Chat said Hansberry is out, Matthew.
Okay, he's available to play according to the note I'm seeing here. Okay. Well, let's check on that. But anyway, I think that DeVries is the more important guy. Like, Hansberry's a very important player, but they can shell it up and muck it up in DeVries fashion, even if he's out. DeVries being out is why I like OK State. I think going back there, it's a great spot to fade. Although Javon's small revenge game potentially going against his old team.
He's top 10 Ken Palm player of the year right now, Javon Small.
He's awesome. He completely controls the game.
Hansberry is out there warming up. So I don't know if our chat person read the first 3 words or something. And so he's warming up. We don't know for sure if he'll play. But Kai, ACC, Syracuse, disappointing team. They're catching 9.5 at Florida State.
Yeah.
This tells me JJ Starling is still out. But do you have any interest here?
My number is Syracuse. I said, I'm not betting Syracuse again, number. Go away. So I did not.
Your number's wrong. Yeah, my number's wrong too. I changed all my numbers now say don't bet Syracuse. Syracuse stinks.
It can't be 9.
Sure it can.
Florida State. I don't know. Florida State should be laying double digits. That's a little wild to me.
They could just be Syracuse. Yeah.
Matt, the purple teams of the Big 12. TCU, they actually competed at Arizona, which might tell you a little more about Arizona. They're laying 4 against Kansas State, who had the big home win. Any interest for you on this game?
I like TCU here. I know it's sort of no, you don't like laying numbers, but that's fine. I know it's not a great TCU team, but I'm fading K-State. I still think there's that was a fluky home win against Cincinnati. It's not like the start of more things to come. And I like that Dixon is talking about reorienting his team in more of a bigger, more physical look since they lost Frankie Collins. Kind of gives me old Pitt, Jamie Dixon vibes. I like that if that's where they're going. I don't know if the personnel will do it, Kai, but that's my lean. I like TCU here, 3.5. Small lean.
Have you considered God is on Kansas State side?
I thought he was just on them for that game. I think he's going to zig against the Zag, though. I think God liked the spot last time out. I think he likes the spot on a fade today. So I don't know. I haven't talked to him today, though. I don't know if you guys have. I have not talked to God today yet.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what God's thoughts are on the starting lineup for this one. So we'll see. We'll see what Tang comes out with. I don't want to bet either team. I think they both are not good. So
neither is trustworthy. I agree with that.
Matthew, I got to go back to you because you are the whisperer of our Riverside Highlanders. They're catching 9 at UC Irvine. Irvine just coming off a crazy OT win at Cal Poly, a crazy OT cover. They covered -8 in OT at Poly. Now they're laying 9 again against Riverside. What do you think?
Riverside money line. This is the game they win to go to 4-0 in conference play to put them in a 2-way tie with UC San Diego. I get the Highlanders get this done today. They've had good success against Turner. The Magpies played very close last 2 years. So I think they get this done today.
All right, from Adrian Wiley, UIC at Belmont. Belmont laying 5.5, 6. Kai, I like Belmont. I think this is the one they get right and play well. UIC coming off the huge win over undefeated Drake. See a little letdown here.
Yeah, 5.5 is kind of my strike there. I think UIC is really good. And I'm on Belmont every game. I ended up staying away, Jim. I made it higher. But yeah.
Okay, I'm going to go with a best bet here from Billy Bob Joe. This one is a gut best bet, not a number, but Vandy laying 2 at LSU. I'm going to ride with the Doors, boys. I just think this is a team that's trending up, and LSU is...
LSU?
Hey, have fun, Matt. Have fun. You're the guy who has been hating on Matt McMahon for the last 2.5 years.
I know, it's
Enjoy.
so true.
Enjoy. You can have him. I will take Vandy here. I'm not too worried about their somewhat smallish lineup. LSU doesn't get it to the right guys. They're not going to like feed the post and bury it inside. I will take the doors at the PMAC, the Pete Maravich Assembly Center. Give me Vanderbilt, one of my three best bets. Matt, what do
Yeah,
you
you're
think?
probably right. You're probably right.
I hope so. I hope so. Matt, what do you think about Little Rock catching 1 point, basically a pick 'em at Tennessee State in the OVC?
I dug into all the OVC games like deeply last weekend, and none of them made any sense, and they never make any sense to me. I still lean Little Rock a little bit today. These are two of like the most talented teams in the conference, but they are still sort of untrustworthy to a degree. I like Little Rock. Tennessee State can't solve the zone. I like the Spartans, right? Spartans, yeah, Spartans.
Kai, why should we not lay 4.5 with Davidson against Duquesne?
We should lay it.
Duquesne's good now, Jim.
I
They're
laid
good.
5 for Davidson. Yes, I am tempted to say it's my best. Now here's the deal. I watched Davidson, and that was a huge mistake. This team is maybe the most unathletic team in the country. It was shocking how unathletic they were against who they just play.
They played Eastern Michigan at one point.
I was getting
Against
actively
Arizona.
angry.
Arizona was like, oh my God, that's two
Yeah.
different operations.
I was actively angry about how unathletic. I was like, I can be out there right now at 35 or 34, whatever hell I am, and be exactly the same as these guys laterally and up and down the court. However, I took Davidson.
All right.
Davidson misses Sean Logan. That's my final take there, Kai. He was kind of a huge piece of their defense
That's
last
good,
year.
too.
Shot blocker, yeah,
Big
has
shot
played.
blocker, yeah.
Kai, remember when North Florida was the darling of non-conference and everybody adored them?
And now they're dogs?
And they stink. They're home dogs, 5.5 against Lipscomb. They did get their stud freshman back last game.
Yeah,
I think
took
Lipscomb
them.
is just a juggernaut
Awesome.
in that league.
Okay,
Personally.
all right.
Lipscomb rocks. I still believe in UNF, man. I watched that whole PE game. That is a scary team, UNF, when they can go on a 20-0 run and not blink. It's a scary team. However, Lipscomb is way better. I took North Florida, though, 5.5.
I
Good.
enjoyed
Good
Lipscomb's
boy,
polar plunge after their ASUN opener. They went and jumped in the water, and that's cool.
No
That's a
travel
good
for
video.
Lipscomb, though. It's kind of a big. They went from Jacksonville to Jacksonville, basically.
Yep, they've been hanging out. Okay, in the Big 12 elevation team, Colorado leaving and headed to Arizona State. Matt, Arizona State struggled at BYU. Colorado was the home dog. Did not quite. I don't think they got there against Iowa State. I can't remember that final score. But do you have thoughts on that game? Arizona State laying 5.5.
I don't like Arizona State laying points against anybody, so no, I don't. But I also don't like Colorado going away from the mountaintop for the first time all year and for a true roadie. So this was Cincinnati, Arizona State, and Utah, I think, were the three like first true road games or first
Texas Tech
road games in forever. Texas Tech, maybe.
First
Okay.
true roadie.
Sorry,
Oklahoma,
just
first
to
true
add
roadie.
that.
Yep.
Oh yeah, I missed two. God, see, I'm not comprehensive. But yeah, no, I had that on my list. I'm not taking it though. I just don't trust either team. So pass.
Okay, I need to sneak in a best bet here because somebody asked about it and it starts in 6 minutes. Aaron Marshall asked about Toledo, Western Michigan. I'm laying it with the Rockets on the road. I still believe in Toledo. They've been a little up and down, mostly down recently in non-conference, but getting back into league play, I still think they're one of the class teams of the MAC. Western Michigan has gotten Chauncey Willis in the lineup, and he helps, but I still am not a huge fan. Kai is certainly an angry, bitter Western Michigan better. But yeah, Rockets -2. So that's another one of my.
Jim, I'm adding it
bets.
with you. Our first ever 2-unit double down, two-person
boy.
on same bet, best bet in the Discord. I am with you on the Rocket ships. Yeah, they're down to 210 in KenPom. Okay, great. They played a couple of good teams and they got blown out twice in a row. Who cares? They're going to crush
Yep.
Western Michigan on the road.
Don't be surprised.
Let's blast off.
If they're losing at halftime. Don't be surprised.
They
Western
probably will be.
Michigan is
That's fine.
an incredible first half team somehow.
Yeah. Let's
They
blast
are,
off,
yeah.
Matthew. Let's do it.
The coaching. One coach is here. One other coach is like,
That's why the
whatever.
second half is going to be a big deal for Toilet.
Yeah, maybe you wait to go second half. That's a good point. That could be I like the angle there, Kai.
All right, last one from John Hudak. Any takes on Grambling, Prairie View? I think Grambling is better. Trends back up. Prairie View has been disappointing the last couple of years when Byron Smith lost his key lieutenant to, was it Alcorn, Matthew? Is that where he went, Bussy?
Yes.
It just hasn't been the
Bussy,
same. They haven't looked the same. And I think Grambling is still arguably the best team in that league along with Southern. So I like Grambling. Southern versus Texas Southern. Go Texas Southern. Southern's hurt. I don't trust Southern right now. Their guards are out. Okay, let's get best bets. I have given out Toledo -2 and Vandy -2. I'm going to stay right in the same lane with Louisiana Tech -2. Yeah, you can get two basically everywhere. At New Mexico State, really weird spot for New Mexico State in the schedule. I just think Louisiana Tech is better, more, even more than this line is saying. And New Mexico State just had the big win over Sam Houston. Then they've got arch rival UTEP coming up. It's kind of gross. I like Louisiana Tech. So that's my trio of small road favorites. Matthew, what is your best bet?
Toledo with you. Go Rocket Ships. I got Monmouth, the Fighting King Rices. Abdi Bashir, who's going to get a big bag to play somewhere in the power leagues next season. They also got Jared Valencia back. They got some big dudes up front. This is a talented team. They looked like very much in disarray. I think they're kind of a good operation now. So I took the Hawks. They're on the road at Delaware, who can't play any defense. They can score, they can't play any defense. And I took Pacific. Our guy Dave Smart, who I know has had a tough go of it to start. Good spot at home against Pepperdine, who's been better for sure. But I just think this is kind of Pacific's game. Plain simple, team more in their weight class, finally in a decent schedule spot. Their defenses look better. So I took, money line basically plus 110, plus 100. So about even money there. I think they're short dog right now. That's my three. I might add a fourth to the buzzer once Kai spews his off real quick here.
Yeah, well, one of them is going to be Montana -2, fellas. And yes, I took Montana State against Idaho. Yes, I thought I won that game because the scores were all wrong. No, they did not cover. They, in fact, lost by 5. It was my biggest bet of the day, so I was very angry. But I think to do it 2 times in a row for Idaho would be shocking. I think Montana still is the best team in this league. For them to be only laying 2, I think, is a bit off. So I'm taking the Grizz -2 against Idaho, the Vandals.
Yeah, you know what, Kai, you talked me into. I'm going to run it back with Montana State, the short road favorite.
Montana State.
We thought they got it done at Idaho. I'll take them at EWASH -1.5. It fits my theme.
I thought you guys liked EWASH. I thought
today.
they impressed you against your Mizzou Tigers.
They did impress me.
Yeah. But I'm still going Montana State, Matt. I just think they're categorically better than that team. Matt, do you have a fourth before we leave?
No, I don't. I'll keep it tight, Jim. I'm going to keep it tight. I was considering. I was throwing a dart at Liberty. For some reason, that team took a ton of money against, down to 7. I know they just blew a huge lead at home and they're down their best big guy, but I think they're gonna take middle to the woodshed today. Just my 2 cents, but we'll see. Not official best bet, just to kind of walk the fence tight, kind of half-ass 1 foot over the side. Half best bet for me.
Enan's not their best big guy. Aquino is a complete monster.
They need Enan though, because he's like their 7'2" wingspan rim protector. Aquino's a monster, but he's more of like a post scorer. Enan's a good like defensive pair. I like them together.
Aquino 6.5% block rate. Enan 1% block rate. So I'm gonna.
Is Aquino up to 6 block rate? Oh wow, no, they need both. But I still think they don't need Enan today.
Yep. That's it, folks. Thank you for tuning in, Kai.
I'll add one at the buzzer. This is probably a bad idea. Man, I'm taking your boys of Troy. I don't know why Marshall's taking money.
I love that.
But I love Troy. Troy.
Marshall's good at home, but I agree. Screw Marshall.
I don't think Marshall is as good as they've. Maybe they are good. I don't know. Troy. I think it's down to pick. I think you can get pick on Troy. So we'll say -1 just for. You can get pick at circa. -1 Troy is my second best bet. Okay. If you're in the Discord, we're gonna post these plays in there. We've been posting them all season. Join. Link is in the description. Enjoy basketball today. 137 D1 games today. Yikes. Hey, we're back next week for a normal podcast. Thursday morning, 7 a.m. Central is where you can catch us. Otherwise, we're back here again for a Best Bet show next Saturday at 10 a.m. Central. We'll see you then. Enjoy ball.